I'm just doing a quick little video so you guys can see what I do to make rolled tacos, and I'll make a few videos in each section of what I do. So right here is the hot oil, and these are the cold tortillas, and I literally just pan fry them in some hot oil. I drain off the extra just to get them pliable so that I can work with them and they don't crack and fall apart. So I toss it in, I wait for it to start to bubble, I flip it over, and I add the next one underneath it, and then I just pull this one out. And I'm going to do that until I have all of my tortillas prepped and ready so that I could fill them and not have to go back and forth. It just makes the process a lot faster. So that's how I do this step. You can see I'm just cranking them out, flip it over, put in the next one. So this was a stack of 30 that I'm doing, and I actually have another stack of 80 that I have to do. So that's how I do it. I crank these bad boys out. If I'm gonna go through the process of making them, I'm gonna make a bunch to make it worth my time, just because it is a process for sure. So you can see I'm just back and forth, back and forth. I'm not saying that you're cooking them, but you want them to hold up when you take them out. I'm using my big tongs, which I should be using my small tongs. I like these a little bit better because they don't rip the tortillas. So also the key is having the oil pretty much hotter than you need, because you just want this quick fried. And I'll show you another tip that I do here after I get this tortilla out so that you can see what's going on. I'm going to turn this off because I'm going to roll this stack of 30. So right here, let me turn this, oh, I can't turn the camera around, but right here, so I don't know, can you see this? Okay, so right here I have the oil pan, and here I have a cookie sheet. I try to keep it really close to keep all the oil contained so that it doesn't get overly messy, because it kind of is a messy process. So I'll make another video and show you how I roll them. Okay, so this is the process where I roll them. I have my stacked pre-cooked tortillas here, a work surface. In front of me is my potatoes, and to this side is another pan where I'm going to be laying them down. And what I'll do is I'll show you how I get them started. So I just take a little bit of the filling. This is a potato filling. And I'm going to just kind of roll it like a cigar and get it nice and tight. And then you can see this is a rolled taco. Now I'm going to set this on the pan like this, seam side down. And I'm going to continue to work with them until they're all rolled. So I'll show you a few so you can see. And I've been making these rolled tacos for a long time, so it's a pretty easy process for me. But I just keep going. I've been teaching my son how to make them so that he can make them for his family when he has one, because they are a family recipe. So you can see how I've got this kind of attached to that, and you just roll it. It keeps it nice and tight, and you just continue to lay them stacked. So the way that they're in this pan is they're down like this, stacked down, and the next one goes like this, and they're both seam side down. And you're just going to keep putting those in the pan like that until you have all your filling rolled, or you've gone through all your tortillas. So I try to keep like a little towel handy so that if my hands get too much filling, I can wipe it off. But you can see I just kind of do this by feel. It's probably a couple tablespoons of filling. And just keep going. Keep going, keep going. And again, my potato filling is roasted potatoes, or not roasted, but like a baked potato, chipotle. If I'm doing them vegan, it's chipotle, black bean, potato, and a little bit of like avocado oil or olive oil, and that's just to help kind of bind everything together. When I do them vegetarian, for us, I add a little bit of cream cheese and a little bit of shredded cheese, and that just gives it a little bit more flavor. Just a little oomph. It's not necessary. The chipotle gives it a lot of flavor. I'll usually add some garlic powder and cumin, ground cumin, just to have a little bit of extra seasoning. And you can over season your potatoes, because that is the only thing you pretty much taste. So you want your filling to be very flavorful. So taste them when they're mashed and seasoned, and make sure that they have good flavor, because when you bite into them, you don't want just a plain potato. You want seasoned potatoes. So mince up that chipotle pepper. If you can't do spice, what could you substitute? Maybe like a mild jarred salsa for some flavor, or some dried green chilies. Those would be really good inside these with the potato. You could definitely do like a green chili and Monterey Jack and potato. I do the beans. My husband loves the beans. It gives it just a little bit of texture so that you don't feel like you're just eating a squishy potato taco. My potato tacos are pretty well known by the people who have eaten them. So anyway, I'll give this last one a roll and I will pause it. So I'm going to show you guys how to fry them. My first batch, I had one that was facing the wrong direction, so it made a mess, and I wanted to show you guys again. So again, all of these are facing in one direction with the flap going north, and I use this butter knife, and this helps to keep everything in place while I'm grabbing the next one. So that's why I pre-roll and put everything on the baking sheet in one direction, so that when I grab them, they continuously stay seam side, down and all in the same direction. That's how I avoid using toothpicks. I do not need toothpicks. A lot of people ask me if I use toothpicks. I do not. I do not need to. So I fill my pan and I try and keep these set. I don't really like the oil this deep, and you'll see on the next pan that the oil's not as deep. They start to float a little, which is what causes them to get loose, and I don't like that. So I'm going to switch sides, come to this pan. So again, we're going to grab and set it in and hold it, and you just keep working and adding, working and adding. This is chicken. Just keep adding them to the pan. I think I usually fit about 9 in a pan. I'm not even 100% sure. So I'm going to probably squeeze one more in there. So you just kind of want to hold them for a second, let them get a little bit firmed up so that they don't unroll. This can probably fit one more. The tighter you have them in, the less chance you have of them unrolling. And you can see how the oil is shallower on this one than it is on this one. That's actually helpful. It's kind of like a shallow fry. These start to float, and you see you get a couple loose ones, which is how the filling seeps out. So when they're tight and shallow, you get a lot less seepage from the filling, which makes for a cleaner fry, and the more contaminated your oil is, the softer your shelf will be. You won't get a crisp fry on them. So you want to, keep that out. You can see that this is in there. So if you look on this pan over here, this was scooped out from the first batch, and you want to keep that out. of the oil so that you have a crispier fry. Also, as you're frying, you'll notice you may need to add additional oil. This pan will probably stay full enough for me to do all 55 potato tacos. The chicken, I'll probably have to add a little bit oil as I go. But again, I like to keep everything pretty much covered while I'm working with them so that they don't dry out and get all funky. But you can see that's my tip. I tried to explain it before in writing, but you see, you know, you just use the knife to hold everything in place. My other tip is, now that these are set up, I like to kind of push them apart, and I try to do this. And that gives them kind of a little bit more fry space externally so that they get crispy as well. And it's just something that I do. And then after you start to see maybe a little bit of color, then you could start rotating them so that they're seam side up. But that is my tip. Thanks guys, I hope you learned something.